Hi everyone, welcome to my personal reflection video. In this video, I'm going to talk about what I learned after taking the course Professional Communication Foundations, or ProfCom to be short, and my plan afterwards. Initially, I was scared before taking this course since I got review from my friends saying that this course is very challenging, which is understandable considering it's a double credit course. However, after 12 weeks of studying, I have come to realize that this course has provided me with valuable insight into what media and communication actually is. I always had the impression that my major is about advertising and the art of creating a successful campaign to sell products. Yet, it soon became clear to me that media and communication is not that at all. It is a multidisciplinary field that encompasses various aspects of other fields. The first thing that I learned from the course content is the significance of considering context when analyzing textual material. Before, I only looked at information from face value, but now I understand that in order to clarify a text, you must put it in context in which it is produced and consumed. Therefore, aspects like culture, politics, and religion must be taken into account. This realization has enabled me to adopt a more critical approach to my thinking and my analysis by constantly questioning the who, how, and most importantly, why behind the information being presented. I have learned to not take knowledge for granted. This understanding was particularly evident when I was engaging with Assignment 1 because we were focusing on the discourse around women's work-life balance in Vietnam. Upon working with the subject matter, I held a rather shallow perspective, thinking that the concept of work-life balance is adopted from the West. However, as I delved deeper into the historical context, I realized that the work-life balance in Vietnam had a long history shaped by the country's economic and social development. It was eye-opening for me to realize that something so familiar, which I encounter every day through popular culture and books, has such a rich and profound history in the Vietnamese context. This experience highlights the importance of conducting thorough research and thinking critically when encountering information for me. It taught me to avoid making assumptions and blindly accepting information as face value. Instead, I now understand the significance of seeking multiple perspectives, examining the underlying motives, and critically evaluating the information being presented. This approach has empowered me to become a more informed and purposeful individual. So the second thing that stood out for me from this course was Stuart Hall encoding and decoding theory. Essentially, he introduced me to the concept of audience agency, which means that the audience has the power to either fully or partially agree with the message being conveyed or straight up rejecting it. As well as the audience has the ability to create new meanings through circulation of information. This is a profound shift in my understanding towards media, because I used to believe that the media exists in a bad and good way, with the notion that when you're consuming bad media, it will lead you to engage in criminal or unhealthy activities. To illustrate this newfound perspective, I want to share a scene from one of my favorite childhood cartoons.
Before midnight tonight, by Fantasy Flan, I'm telling the world, Fantasy Flan, Fantasy Flan. And every time you see my face, you want more flan, want more flan.
Flan, give me flan.
As you can see, that was I thought was an example of bad media. However, as I reflect on Hall's theory, I realize that media doesn't work in such a simple way. There's no inherent categorization of media as good or bad, because media is a tool to deliver messages as it is human to control and influence the content. Media reflects what we, as consumer and producer, want to hear and see. As a media and communication student, I have learned to avoid making statements like, this is bad media, this is good media. Such statements lack depth and fail to acknowledge the complex dynamics at play. It is essential to recognize that media reflects our society and the values we hold, because blaming media is an oversimplification because it is a product of human influence after all. Like this articles blaming TikTok for social issues and what crazy thing it is for influencing the kids. But in the end, TikTok is a social media and it shows whatever we put in there. So blaming TikTok or media in general don't fix the problem. So after talking about what media and communication actually is and is not, what did I learn personally from this course? So after this course, I realized that I had been lacking knowledge and showing apathy towards important social issue around me. I had been living in a little bubble, focusing solely on my hobbies and interests without paying attention to the world around me. Reading news articles seemed uninteresting to me, and I rarely engaged in discussion about current events. And that leads to me struggling to think critically and work with the Vietnamese heritage team of this semester. But now I have come to realize that by understanding the value of being informed and aware of what's happening in Vietnam and worldwide is important. And it's also important for me to step out of my comfort zone and actively seek knowledge about the world I live in. This realization has made me see the significance of being informed, and I want to continue to explain my understanding of both the Vietnamese and global context. The second thing that I learned is with assignment 2. I have to be honest, assignment 2 was a nightmare for me since I have to write. And I absolutely hate writing, both creatively and academically, because I'm just not good at writing at all. So in an attempt to overcome this obstacle, I started early thinking that I would be fine in the end. But ironically, I was learning so much about the concept of agency in media and communication, but I failed to have my own agency when it comes to assignment 2. I'm not the best writer, but I do have some strengths in researching. So my process went something like this. This is the part where I'm still in the researching phase and then consulting with Dr. Felix. Oh, mentioning of Dr. Felix, kudos to him for being incredibly supportive with me with my assignment 2. And this is the last consultation that we had. And from then on, everything went downhill. It went downhill because I didn't have my own opinion. I was too passive and relied on Dr. Felix's feedback. So today, 2 days before the deadline, I had so many different directions that I could take with my case study, so many arguments I could make, and that in the end, I had none. So that is when I reached out to him to get some help. He told me that as a researcher, I need to be decisive and have a clear understanding of what I wanted to say and what I do not. So I took a deep breath, look at my outline again, and focus on the point that stood out for me the most. I decided to stick with my original argument since that is the one that I understand and like the most at the moment. And in the end, it was a challenging journey, but I managed to push through. It taught me the importance of trusting my own instinct and having confidence in my own idea, even if writing is not my strength. What are my plans to avoid all of this from happening again? First, I aim to expand my understanding of Vietnam and stay informed about current events by committing to daily news reading. So by reading news daily, I hope that I could be more aware of issues around me. And additionally, I plan to dedicate some time each week to watch at least one documentary or video essay on YouTube so that I could broaden my understanding in various topics. And also, whenever I found something interesting or new, I will initiate discussion with my friend to gain different perspective and broaden my knowledge on the subject matter. Secondly, to improve on my writing, I will no longer avoid practicing writing but rather embrace it. So I plan to do some weekly journaling of my thoughts or what interesting insights that I found through watching those documentaries and video essays. Therefore, this allowed me to express my ideas more easily in the written form and developing my writing ability. And when it comes to assignment, I will actively seek support from SAS because I heard that they have a writing and learning center that they will proofread your paper. And if the task is not too major, I could ask my friend to review my drafts and provide feedback. Therefore, I believe that this collaborative approach will help me refine my writing skill in the future. Thirdly, in terms of confidence and decisiveness, both as a researcher and myself, I recognize that I should be kinder to myself. Instead of being overly critical when receiving a poor score or make a mistake when discussing in class, I will start to accept failure as a part of my learning journey. Accepting failure doesn't mean that you are disregarding your own weakness and simply moving on, but it means that you should take time to carefully examine the feedback and allowing yourself to prevent them from occurring in the future. Whenever I receive back marks for my assignment, I will carefully read through the feedbacks and the rubric, as well as my own work to see where I did wrong, that I will not be making the same mistake again. In case I do not understand or do not know how to improve, I will actively seek out help from the lecturer or SAS or one of my friends to listen for their feedbacks. Upon recognizing the importance of active engagement, I will try to participate more in class discussions and group work. By confidently expressing my thoughts and explaining it to others, I aim to develop the skill of articulating my ideas and defending my argument. This will help me become less easily swayed by others' opinion and contribute to my growth in decisiveness and positively impact both my personal and professional life. By implementing this strategy, such as staying informed, consistent writing practices, seeking support, embracing failure as a learning progress, and engaging in active discussion and debates, I plan to take steps to develop myself both personally and academically so that I could handle future assignments better. Through this journey, I aim to become a more confident communicator, a stronger advocate for my ideas, and a resilient individual who embraces challenges as opportunities for growth. Thank you all for listening to my personal reflection.